Welcome to Joe's Astrology. This is the birth chart for Ben Affleck. He's a Cancer rising with Venus on the rising sign, Sun in Leo, and a Moon in Scorpio. This guy with the ascendant there, Cancer, the ruler being the Moon in Scorpio, and his midheaven is also Pisces. So this is a very emotional guy. You can see where he's coming from as well. Pluto in the fourth, the Cancer house, and the South Node also being in Cancer. The ruler of the South Node as well being that Moon in Scorpio. So there's a lot of water there. This is a very emotional guy. And I would suspect that as he gets older, if we look here to the opposition of Pluto, the 10th house, and the North Node, where he's headed in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn in an air sign in the 12th. I would suspect that as he gets older, life is going to become more and more heavy, maybe more and more of a drag. This is a guy who works a lot. We can see he's an actor. He's a successful actor with Jupiter in the sixth there. Some good fortune from work. The house of work, the sixth house, and it's also in Sagittarius, the sign that it rules. And if we look at the that Jupiter as well, it's making a trine to Mars and the Sun in the third house of this chart, the second house for if we were doing whole sign. So that Jupiter is in a trine aspect. It's connected back to this his Sun in Leo, where he likes to be a performer. He likes to be on stage. And also you can see here definitely with Mercury in the second, making a trine to that Jupiter. He likes to make money off of his work, or you could say that just at the very least he does make a lot of money off of his work. And he's very ambitious with that Jupiter trine Mars. We could also look at Jupiter being the planet that rules Pisces, even though we also think of Neptune. Pisces being the sign that rules performances and creative artistry, music, acting. And we see that Jupiter, that ruler of that Pisces, making contact to all these planets here in the third and the second. And back to this Saturn, as I said, as he moves later in life, we look at this Capricorn North Node and where he's headed. This Saturn in air in the 12th. I did a video on the joys of the planets, and Saturn, I believe, in the 12th is not the greatest place to have Saturn in that chart. Whoever made that chart, more of somewhere from some ancient astrologer, that Saturn is in the 12th can be considered bad spirit, where we have Jupiter in the 11th is good spirit. So definitely not the greatest place to have Saturn, and that is where we see where he's headed. It doesn't necessarily mean that bad things are going to happen to him. I just think there may be a depressed, morose outlook for him as he gets older that he's going to have to deal with. As I said, very heavy and a lot of heaviness. And that could be from the emotional output that he's put into his career. See the water sign on the house of the career. The emphasis on working. He has done a lot of movies. And we see he's a fairly good-looking guy with that Venus on the ascendant. Just recently did J-Lo's chart, and I believe they recently got back together, so I'll be doing their composite chart here soon. And you can see why he would get back together, because of in his individual chart with all of this water and the emotions being very important to this person. That Moon in Scorpio, very committed, or at least desires to be committed, working that out in this life. learning about commitment, learning about betrayal. And this, we can look here at the moon. It's also the ruler in the fifth, and that is we consider that the house of self-expression, creativity, performance, children, and that's making it trine to the ascendant as well. So very much a moon type person here. We can see that Uranus is squaring the nodes. We see this often with these people that have success individually, really asserting their individuality, a need to assert their individuality. And it really comes back to this south node in the first. So no wonder, for him, looking at this chart, if anyone thinks he's selfish, uh, you know, we see all the Leo and he's an actor. And if anyone would think he is selfish and really self-involved, you can look at this chart and for some reason there would be a need for him to look at that in this life. There's definitely a need, to be an individual here with this Uranus squaring the nodes. It's also making a sextile to Mercury. And a trine to that Saturn. So we could look at this a little bit deeper, trying to see why he would have that, why he would have this need to really look at this first house. Could have something to do with his values, with Venus there. Really trying to move towards that north node that rules Saturn, and not really knowing who he is, not really knowing any of this about his emotional life that I'm speaking of, not really being aware of it, maybe ignoring it. We see with the emphasis on the second house, and we see the retrograde Mercury in the second house. Really learning, redoing the learning of values, of what your values are, what his values are. So I'll leave it there for now. This is the mini reading for Ben Affleck, and stay tuned. Hopefully I'll be doing the composite chart for J-Lo and Ben Affleck.